Hello guys, and welcome to this new Python tutorial. In today's video, we're going to talk about file handling in Python. To start, we have first to define what is a file. A file is a collection of data or information that stays in the computer storage devices and has a name. We can find the files in two types. They can be in text format to store characters and strings, or in binary files which used to store images, audio, and videos. In Python, we have to follow these three main steps. First, we create the file, or we open it if it exists. Then we perform the following operations. We can read, we can write, or we can append data to our file. And finally, we have to close the file in order to proceed with the following instructions. Now we are going to talk about the file opening modes in Python. The main function that is used to open the files is the open function. We have here the syntax, which says that open, you open your parentheses, you write your file name, then you precise the opening mode. We have four main opening modes in Python. We have R, which is used to read the file, and it is the default mode. It returns an error if the file does not exist. A is used to append data to an existing file, and it creates the file if it does not exist. W used to write data to an existing file, and it creates the file if it does not exist. But if the file already exists, then it will be overridden, which means that we have a difference between append and write. In append, we can only end data without overwriting the existing data. Whereas in the write mode, if the file already exists, what we are going to write will override the existing lines in our file. And finally, X is used to create the specified file, and it returns an error if the file already exists. We can also specify the file type. T for text mode, and it is the default mode, and B for binary mode. For example, we can assign our file by writing my file equals to, we write the open function, we write the file name, which is data file name.txt, and we open it in the read mode and in text mode, which means that the file type is text. We can also use the blind sign for updating files. For example, if we want to read and write data into the text file, we can write R+. And for example, in this case, the data in the file will not be overwritten. To delete a file in Python, we can use the operating system module, OS module, and it is written by the following. We import OS, we write os.remove, and you specify the file name. Now, for example, if we want to open a file, we can write file equals to, write the open function, we open our parentheses, and I have a file which is called file.txt, and we are going to open that in the read mode. Okay, now if we want to print the content of our file, we write print file, and we use the read function. Okay, so here we have the definition of a computer file. After each operation, you have to close your file. So you write file dot close. So here to close the file. Okay. Now, if you want to open that again, we write, for example, the same file equals to open file.txt in the read mode. And let's say, for example, we want to print the 10 first characters of the file. So we write print file dot read, and we write 10. So it will print for us the 10 first characters of our file. Okay, and also we have to close that. Now there's other thing that we can do, for example, can read our file line by line. So we call that again file open file.txt, right? And we write file dot read line, okay? And we print that. So it will give us the first line, okay? So if I want to do that again, it will give me the second line. And if I do that again, it will give me the third line, okay? So we have to close that. So as we have said, the write mode, it will write directly into a file, and it will overwrite the file if it exists, or it will create the file if it does not exist, okay? So file2 equals to open my file2.txt, and we do that in the write mode, okay? So we have our file and we can write whatever we want. So for example, we write file2, we use the write function, and we write this is, for example, the second file, okay? And we close that, file2 dot close, okay? Now if we want to read our file, so we call that, for example, file2 equals to open, so we call the name my file2.txt, and we use that in the read mode, and we write print file2.theread function, okay? So we have, this is the second file. Now we have to close that, file2.close, okay? If you want to append data to this file, so we have said that it will not overwrite the previous data, it will directly add the data. So if we open the file again in the append mode, okay, so we write file2 dot write, this is the second line, this is the second line, okay? So now if we want to open our file again, so file2 equals to open my file2.txt in the read mode, and I print file2.read, okay? So I have the two lines stacked, okay? Now what we can do is that we have to add something that specifies the new line symbol, okay? To do that, we have to add the \n, okay? So for example, if we close that, so we write file2, so I close this one, file2.close, okay? Now if I'm going to add this \n to the append, so file2.append, and I will call the \n, okay? So file2.close and open that, you see? So the \n specifies that the new line, or the new line, will be in another line, okay? It will not be stacked anymore, okay? So be careful if you want to add lines, new lines, and the new lines or the new data or the new characters, you don't want them to be stacked, you have to add the \n to specify a new line, okay? So this is used to specify a new line in Python, okay? Now if I close that and I want to overwrite all this. So I have to open the file 2 in the write mode and write something new. Okay, for example, if I want to do that, so I open this file again in the write mode, okay, and I want to add something, for example, file 2 dot the write function, and we write data is overwritten. Okay, now I have file 2 dot close. If I call that again, all this data will be overwritten and I will have only the new line. Okay, so data is overwritten. Okay, we can also use another function or another method if we want to print a file or want to read a file, as we have here. So we have the file.txt_r, which is the following. So we write with open file.txt, and we write that in the read mode, for example, as file. Okay, so we write, for example, print file.read. Okay, that's just an example. Or you can assign, for example, file.read. So have your data, you assign your lines or your file to data, and then you perform some instructions that you want. For example, right there, instructions, okay, depending on your task. So this is a method that is very used when working with files. So this is all for this video. I hope that you have learned new things. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.